Good evening. This is Rahul Magan here as a Group Chief Executive Officer, Treasury Consulting, and also a venture capitalist. As we speak, Treasury Consulting is a multinational headquartered group based out Singapore. And we are a prop hedge fund. By prop hedge fund, I mean that we only trade on our own capital. And as we speak, our fund is 100% profitable in nature. Before I initiate, I'm extremely pleased to share that our OTT platform Over the Top successfully tested the 10 minutes video like I promised you 1 month ago. 1 month ago, we tested 1 minute video, and as we speak, we tested 10 minutes video. It means now our subscribers can have knowledgeable videos which covering financial markets, credit derivatives, accounting, wealth management, mutual fund, research and analysis, treasury management system, CFA, and many other in 10 minutes. Now, take my words. Now we tested 10 minutes. We will stick to 10 minutes for at least 1 month. So the whole June, we will make 10 minutes permanent. In July, we would be moving to 12 minutes. And eventually, slowly, we would be having 15 minutes video by end of July. So since 10 minutes is done, by end of July, we would be 15 minutes video. And this process would definitely continue. Today, I am covering a very interesting topic. Like, I don't know whether you are following me on the YouTube or on the social media, that up to you. But from the last several months, I am saying one thing upfrontly on the social media, which is the global financial markets are not yet ready for the rate hike. This is something I am consistently saying in the last few months, be it any market, because central banks are giving an excuse that since inflation is going up, they need to tame the inflation. To tame the inflation, they need to hike the rates. But from the last several months, I am consistently repeating that the global financial markets are not yet ready as far as the rate hike is concerned. Now let's have a practical demo. Few days ago, I don't know, all of a sudden, Reserve Bank of India hiked the repo rate by 40 basis points and CRR, cash reserve ratio, by 50 basis points. In totality, the impact on the banking system is not less than 90 basis points, 40 plus 50. Now, this is a technical thing to understand how repo and reverse repo and CRR needs to be added. But the impact on the banking system is near about 90 basis points. What had happened? As we speak, Indian financial markets are consistently falling. And now the Nifty is near about 16,300. And if this trend persists for another few days next week, then I'm sure Nifty would be moving in the territory of 15,000. By the way, I am consistently saying since long time that the fundamental of Nifty do not deserve to be at 16,000. I have an evidence. I am a person of research. I never speak, theoretical knowledge. Like, this is the total pages I print in just few minutes, and I'm going to be reading line by line. One of the prints which I have taken is the national debt of India. I will show you. This is a print which I have taken. This is the print. Now this is the national debt of India. Now, according to the statistics provided by a website called Statistica, in 2016, keep the politics aside. Please do not enter into the politics that the BJP, the Congress and all these. Please, we are talking about as a nation. So I request keep the politics aside, please. In 2016, the national debt was 1.40 trillion. The national debt of India was 1.40 trillion. By 2022, according to the same information, the national debt is near about 3.1 trillion. Okay, make it plain, 3 trillion. Okay. Now, this is the information which I got from a website called Statistica. Of course, a lot of mathematics to be done. I need time to compute this, but to do the mathematics, which probably I would be doing very soon. Now, International Monetary Fund also said that the India target of 5 trillion GDP, which India is targeting, a 5 trillion GDP will not happen in 2024. It will happen by 2029. And by the way, they have also raised the dollar to around 94. They are forecasting $1 would be equals to 94 Indian rupees. I don't know what the hell they are talking it about, but anyways. But if International Monetary Fund is saying that the GDP of 5 trillion would be in 2029, I'm telling you right now that it will not even in 2029. The reason is very clear. The reason is the ground reality is very, very poor. Like if you look at the national debt, in 2016, the national debt was 1.40 trillion. In 2017, it was 1.58 trillion. In 2018, it was 1.76 trillion. In 2019, it is near about 2 trillion. In 2021, it is 2.34 trillion. In 2020, 2.3 trillion. In 2021, it is 2.7 trillion. In 2022, it's around near about 3.1. Precisely, you take 3 trillion. It means the Indian debt is expanding and expanding at a much faster pace. As we speak, the debt to GDP ratio of India is the GDP of India is near about 3 trillion, which means if I go with the same statistics, the debt to GDP ratio of India is near about 100%. Now, according to a website, I haven't printed that, but I noted on my piece of paper. As of 2021, the total GDP of the globe was 94 trillion. So the total GDP of the globe was 94 trillion. And total debt of the globe is near about 250 trillion. Which means the debt to GDP ratio of the globe, not talking about any specific country, but the debt to GDP ratio of the globe is near about 2.5 times, because the total GDP is 94 trillion and the total debt is 250 trillion, which means it is 2.5 times. Keeping this as a backdrop, India RBI, where the FX reserves as of 29th April fallen below 600 billion and NIIP, which is Net International Investment Position. NIIP, the Net International Investment Position, which is nothing but the difference between FX assets and FX liabilities. It is already negative to the tune of 200 to more than 200 billion. Now the FX reserves of India has fallen below 600 billion, which effectively means that the NIIP would be negative. Keeping this as a backdrop, Indian RBI decided to increase the rate by 40 basis points without any warning. Inflation in India is already skyrocketed, whether this is petrol, whether this is diesel, whether this is food inflation or anything. Now banks would be hiking the rates, and the impact of this would be in the hands of the normal investor. The similar is the scenario of the Federal Reserve also, where US is standing at a debt of 32 trillion US dollars. And as we speak, the Federal Reserve hiked the rate by near about 50 basis points. Now the yields are going up. Now, since the yields are going up, in that eventuality, I repeat, in that eventuality, the refinancing cost of US will go up. Since the refinancing cost will go up, the US fiscal deficit, which is already in multi-trillion, I repeat, which is already in multi-trillion, would increase further, which would dent the financial markets. To summarize the situation, we are not very far from a great recession. My point is very clear that a great recession is coming. That is a separate thing, whether we are prepared for the great recession or we are not prepared for the great recession. That's a big thing. But Indian media is a great media, because Indian media will always present the picture that recession is not coming. I personally see that the situation in the financial market would be very, very worst in the upcoming time. And when I'm using a word financial market, I'm referring to the global financial market. Nifty is 16,300 approximately. The Sensex is near about 54,000. And I personally continue to believe that the situation is really, really worst for the emerging markets. As we speak today, I was looking at Sri Lanka and I went to Google. You know that I spare a lot of time on Google. Like if I show you this is the index methodology of Bloomberg. You can refer that. This is the index methodology of Bloomberg. I have taken a printout of that, and very surprisingly, I got lots of errors. Check this. You can see my notes, lot of errors, and I'm surely going to be making a video in that regards. Sri Lanka situation is very bad. India's situation is also very bad. Not to mention the Pakistan situation, Nepal situation. Across everywhere, the situation is turning out to be very, very bad. The default is looming. I repeat, the default is looming. But once again, the biggest question is, are we ready for that? That's the most important thing. I feel that at least 2 to 3 global economies would default. Like Bank of England has also, Bank of England said that our recession risk is here. And I am warning you people since several months. Anyways, at the end, of course, I have a separate video in that regards, maybe probably tomorrow. I would like to congratulate you, everyone, regarding the fraud by the Axis Mutual Fund. You can refer my Facebook. I have warned people many times from the last several months that mutual funds are doing fraud, but no one bothered. Now Axis Mutual Fund did the fraud. And if you are thinking that this fraud is the only thing which they did, then please correct yourself, because it is a front-running fraud. And front-running cannot be done by one individual or two individuals. It's a very common practice in multiple countries of the globe. On paper, Indian mutual funds have a lot of compliances. Compliance this, they have compliance committee, and so. Two fund managers being stepped down from the Axis Mutual Fund. But why didn't the CEO and the CRO, Chief Executive Officer and Chief Risk Officer of Axis Mutual Fund, not resigned? Nothing would happen. A committee would form. This committee will impose a fine of 2 crore, 3 crore, maximum 4 crores on Axis Mutual Fund. No license would get confiscated. The people, those who are removed, they get jobs somewhere else, and this whole process would continue. At the end, who lost is the investor. That's the most important thing. Anyways, to conclude, the upcoming times are precarious. Please be ready. Do the research. Don't do stupidity. This is what I can say. Thank you very much. This is Rahul Magan here as a Treasury Consulting Group. You know my personal number 9899242978. Have a great time.